I wish to welcome everyone to the April meeting of the Corporate and Community Development Committee. Are we on? That's right. Yep. Standing committees are held as part of council meeting process in order for committees to consider reports prepared by council officers and to make recommendations regarding these reports to the monthly council meeting. Council delegates on the Corporate and Community Development Committee are Mayor Kennedy, Deputy Mayor Hickey, Councillor Boland Chairperson, Councillor Allgate, Councillor Gillett and Councillor Jewett. All councillors undertook an oath or affirmation at the beginning of their term of office and declared to undertake the duties of the office of councillor in the best interest of the people of the Broken Hill local government and local government area in the city of Broken Hill. And they will faithfully and impartially carry out functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of their ability and judgment. This committee meeting is being live streamed via YouTube and recorded and published online via Council's website. To those present in the meeting today, by attending in this public meeting, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. The chairperson and/or general manager have the authority to pause the live stream if comments or debate are considered defamatory or otherwise inappropriate for publishing. Participants are advised they may be subject to legal action if they engage in unlawful behaviour or commentary. Apologies and leaves of absence. I've got no leaves of absence or nil. Is there any apologies? Nil apologies. I think wasn't an apology. Was there any leave of absence? I now call on Mayor Kennedy to deliver the prayer.
Almighty God, we ask you to invoke your blessing upon this council, direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement, true welfare of the people of the council area, our state and Australia. Amen.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. And now call on Councillor Gillett to deliver the acknowledgement of country.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we meet today, the land of the Willikali people, and pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.
Thank you, Councillor Gillett. I'll now call on Deputy Mayor Hickey to deliver the acknowledgement of Broken Hill's mining history.
We take time to reflect, remember and honour the 800 miners that lost their lives and those that were crippled or maimed on the line of load. We thank the brave miners and their wives who were part of the 1919 to 1920 strike that lasted over 500 days and delivered a 35-hour working week. Mining is our past and our future.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Hickey. Item 6, minutes for confirmation that the minutes of the Corporate and Community Development Committee meeting held 17th of March 2026 be confirmed. Do I have a mover that way?
Move that way.
Moved Councillor Allgate, second is Councillor Gillett. All those in favour, declare those minutes carried. Item 7, is there any disclosures of interest? Nil disclosures of interest. Moving to item 8, reports. Report number 1, Broken Hill City Council Report number 45-26 dated April 7th, 2026. Draft a Disability Inclusion Action Plan 2026 to 2030 for public exhibition. Do I have a move of that recommendation? Move Mayor Kennedy. Seconded to that. Seconded Councillor Allgate. Would you like to talk on that, Mayor Kennedy?
Yes, thank you. It's a very comprehensive report. What makes it very difficult to, I suppose, to get to where we want to be as a council is a lot of this report relies on what other people in the community are doing. But from a council's perspective, there's some actions in there that allow council to upgrade infrastructure that will allow or help people with a disability. There's also actions in there to make sure there's training to make sure people with a disability are well looked after by employees of council. So the action plan itself does all we can do as a council to make sure that we make it better for people who live with a disability and make sure that the city is accessible as possible. It'll be up to the private community how much of that takes on, but there will be workshops and other days provided during the year to try to encourage an overall better performance throughout the city for people with a disability.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Any further comment on that report? There's no further comment. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour, declare that carried. Item 3, Broken Hill City Council Report number 47-26 dated March 19, 2026. Draft mobile food vehicles, temporary food stalls and hawking policies for public exhibition. Do I have a move for that? Oh, hold on. Oh, there we are. Just ignore that one. Just circle back, as the kids say now. Number 2, Broken Hill City Council Report number 46-26 dated March 30, 2026. Adoption of draft agency information guide. Do I have a move for that recommendation? Move, Mayor Kennedy. Do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Seconded, Councillor Allgate. Would you like to talk on that, Mayor Kennedy?
Yes, I suppose the important bit is that we've met all the requirements for the adoption of the draft agency information guide. It allows people to access information with council, which is a good thing. You want to be a transparent council. If you're a transparent council, then people are able to get the information they need, and it stops people from always thinking the worst.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Is there any further comments on that report? There's no further comments on that report. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Declare that carried. Unopposed. Number 3, item 3, Broken Hill City Council Report. Now I'm on the right one. Number 47-26 dated March 19, 2026. Draft mobile food vehicle, temporary food stalls and hawking policy for public exhibition. Do I have a move for that?
Move that way.
Moved, Councillor Allgate. Do I have a seconder for that? Seconded, Deputy Mayor Hickey. Would you like to talk on that, Councillor Allgate?
Only to say that it meets all the it complies with all the requirements of the legislation. It addresses every conceivable practical operation in terms of busking and food preparation outdoors and whatever. I think it's a good policy, comprehensive, and there's no need to talk any further on it.
Thank you, Councillor Allgate. Any further comment on that report? There's no further comment. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour, declare that carried. Unopposed. Item 4, Broken Hill City Council Report number 48-26 dated March 18, 2026. Broken Hill led reference group minutes of meeting held 25th of February 2026. Do I have a move for that recommendation? Move, Mayor Kennedy. Do I have a seconder for that? Seconded, Councillor Gillett. Would you like to talk on that, Mayor Kennedy?
Yes, thank you. Look, the Chief Scientist's report's really important. Just a question to you, to the Chair. Just what was your take on the meeting?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Yes, when the meeting was scheduled, the Chief Scientific report had only come out a couple of hours earlier, so a lot of us had a quick read through it and have since studied it, and it's an important report. And the committee's going through updating its terms of reference as well, so it's a timely document as well. I think sometimes the committee has got not off target, but I think what council can achieve and the expectations that some members of the committee are putting onto council to achieve isn't doable without state government support. We know that the issues around lead from Broken Hill particularly historical mining, not from the current operations that have got these systems and procedures and safety mechanisms in place. And we've certainly seen that through some EPA reporting around the air quality in Broken Hill, where the dust coming off the mines is very well contained, and they've worked hard on it. And we've heard from the mining company's delegates on the committee the exact process they're following and the updated technology they're using and new chemicals, and it's certainly working. But I think there's also a push from certain sectors of the committee and the community members to eliminate all dust. You can't eliminate all dust. Doesn't matter if you're Broken Hill or in your middle of Parramatta or Adelaide for that matter. you can't eliminate all dust. But I think the current local mining operators are doing a wonderful job containing the dust on their leases and are certainly working with the committee, community stakeholders, the EPA, and are doing a good job. Historical mining, obviously, we know, and we've got that report from the state government, and this council certainly has lobbied and pushed the state government for further assistance and modelling off the lead contamination near Newcastle, I believe, and there's some further ones around the old zinc refinery down in Tasmania as well. But be interesting to see where it goes, where the terms of reference update falls, and I think the committee will continue to be very, very important between mining companies, community members, and council, and where exactly we need to push the state government, state and federal government for that matter, in assisting our community in mitigating the lead and other heavy metals.
Yeah, look, just reading the report and some of the feedback that I have been getting, there is a real push from that committee to try and have council be the main focus of the lead program, when in reality it's a health program. It's a state government program. We're there to help, not lead. So what was your thoughts on that? Because in the report, the terms of reference also mention that they'd like to know more about what council's doing, and I understand that because council does send off a lot of correspondence, and we do keep a lot of pressure on all levels of government and all agencies. But what's your feeling about the direction of the committee, given that lead's always been health driven? There's a lead environmental children's centre. It's been going for a long time. So what's the feeling from you at that committee?
Yes, certainly I agree with you 100%, and it's a health issue, and it's something I've had to keep the committee on target at times on as well, where there is an expectation, where they're trying to hand, as you said, Mayor, what is basically a New South Wales health issue, or health department has always dealt with that, onto council, and we don't have the resources to manage that, nor the funding as well. The health bodies, New South Wales Health gets the funding to manage the lead in Broken Hill, and that's not council. And I think pushing more and more on the council, ultimately it costs our community money, and you know, there was a push that the council needs to hire more staff. Well, it's not that easy. There's a cost of budget, and I certainly push back on that. And the terms of reference are continuing with the subcommittee that's been set up for that. And I do agree with the correspondence going back to the committee, and I inform the committee. That's why I sit on there to assist the committee and the members with what is going on at council and where our correspondence back and forth from state, federal governments and the EPA stands. But yes, ultimately 100% agree with your comments around trying to push things back onto council instead of health. This is a New South Wales Health, New South Wales state government, federal government issue. Council shouldn't be left holding the ball for what is a historical issue. We've always said how much money they've made out of Broken Hill. The current mining companies are doing a good job and need to be thanked for that. And ultimately, the state government needs to step up to the plate. Council can play a bigger role, but we need bigger funding money from the state and federal governments to do that.
Look, so I think we need to, I'm happy to add a number 3, that we do write off to all concerned bodies. That includes the minister, the local member, the EPA, lead groups, everyone, explaining that we're happy to be a part and lead from a community's perspective on advocacy for ensuring that lead levels are reduced, and where we can, council will take a lead, and that includes things like street sweepers, because that's a council responsibility. We're quite happy with the funding to make sure that our public spaces are as lead-free as possible or vegetated as possible to make sure there's a barrier between any lead dust. But we have no ability to impact private residents, and nor do we want to. We don't want to be the ones that are taking on the responsibility of lead control. We are an advocacy group, and we are also a group that will do or continue to do council's core responsibilities, which reduce lead. And that means keeping green areas green and keeping roads clean if we are provided with the resources that are required. As a council, we expect the children of Broken Hill to be given the exact same consideration from the state and federal governments as are if they were in Sydney. And that's what we do. So that's the correspondence. I think you got most of that, Lisa. It's just the normal stuff that we send off, but it's really about explaining that we're not going to be the new lead warriors in town.
No, 100% agree. Second, Councillor Gillett, agree with that item 3. Any further comment on that report? There's no further comment. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Declare that carried, unopposed. Item number 5, Broken Hill City Council Report number 49-26 dated March 18, 2026. Nomination for the appointment of community representative to the Section 355 Memorial Oval Community Committee. Do I have a move for that recommendation? Councillor Allgate.
Move the recommendation.
Moved Councillor Allgate. Seconded Councillor Gillett. Would you like to talk on that on that item, Councillor Allgate?
Just say, just to the effect that we congratulate Dean Martin on accepting the role with the committee. It's hard enough to get volunteers, and I think when we do get them, we should welcome them into the 355 committee realm and thank them for their participation. The only thing I often wonder about is what was raised some time ago, and that was the power consumption. I'm not sure what happens in the meantime about that, but it seems that there's an urgent need to do something about the power, the lighting and the power eventually. So we should be thinking about budget-wise in terms of some improvements in the future in that respect.
Thank you, Councillor Allgate. I believe it was in a stretched budget from the committee. The budget meeting the other day, there was certainly, I recall it was mentioned, but it's a stretch goal and something we can chase some funding for. And that's also the Central Football Club representative. So it's great to see the football club back on there as a major user of that oval. Is there any further comments on that report? There's no further comments. Put that to the vote. All those in favour, declare that carried, unopposed. There's no confidential matters. As there's no further business for the committee to consider, I declare the Corporate and Community Development Committee meeting closed at 5.